absorbed in, and you are sonic.
Greetings, fellow travelers. Welcome to the Isle of No Repeat. It's a podcast where we pick 3 songs every week with no repeats and no do-overs to soundtrack your perfect island voyage. I'm your captain this evening, Taylor Olmstead, and I'm joined by my 2 ship's mates, Tyler Reed.
When's the last time you ever had a pina colada?
And Sean Evans.
I feel like I have a stern comment about that. Nobody could see me. You couldn't see me wink at that one, so it's fine. The podcast is still not a visual medium, regardless of how many times I try.
Huh.
It's because stern is a boating term, Tyler.
Got him.
Yeah, hold your bowels. God.
Tyler, what was our challenge this week?
This week, we're trying to find the perfect song for drinking pina coladas getting caught in the rain that aren't Escape by Rupert Holmes. I'm pretty sure our good buddy Andrew would have suggested this in some capacity, but we'll say I also did it. But if you have your own challenge, we would love to hear about it. Literally any situation at all that could require a soundtrack, let us do it for you. You can find submissions on our Discord, which you can find the link to that in our bio. Or you can always send us an email, norepeatpod@gmail.com. Thanks so much.
All right, so we got to do the obligatory first question. Have you had a pina colada? When was the last time you got caught in the rain?
I have had a pina colada. Oh, man, it was probably like 5 years ago.
The before times.
Maybe longer. Yeah. And then I probably got caught in the rain. Cyclocross is pretty infamous for catching me in the rain, so let's go with cyclocross.
So
this year, so probably in the fall.
Yeah, okay.
Tyler?
Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like being in Ohio, it's overcast most of the time, so being caught in the rain pretty frequently.
What?
Yeah. Apparently, whereas just as overcast as, like, Seattle, like Cincinnati is at least. So maybe you're different. But anyway, so probably getting caught in the rain probably like last week. It happens more than I'd like to admit. Pina colada? I don't know if I've ever had. I had to think about it. I was like, I don't. If I did, I do not recall it. Probably had more pina colada flavored things than the drink itself.
That's a pretty common thing, I think. I don't really like coconut, which is one of the key ingredients of a pina colada, so I haven't ever like drank an entire one. I know that I must have had at least a sip of one while we were in San Juan on our honeymoon. We went to the Hilton Caribe Hotel in downtown San Juan, which is where the pina colada was created.
Whoa.
But the bar was not open yet when we got there, because we got there like around lunchtime, so we were not able to get a pina colada. However, my husband was back in San Juan for work a few months later and did have one and said that it was the best pina colada he's ever had. So there you go. Getting caught in the rain. I mean, I kind of got caught in the rain today in the sense that I forgot my umbrella and had to walk from my car to the door of the grocery store, but I don't know that that's like really getting caught in the rain. The last time I really got caught in the rain was last July 4th. I ran the big Peachtree Road Race 10K here in Atlanta. And basically right after I crossed the finish line, it just started pouring rain. And all of us were just like trudging, sweaty and wet and cold onto the train after the race. Which kind of put a damper on the post-race celebrations. But, you know, it's the summertime in Atlanta. You take every bit of cool rain you can get. So, I mean, Escape, the Pina Colada song, Rupert Holmes. It's kind of an iconic soft rock classic. I don't know that I remember a life without this song.
Yeah. I mean, also, literally, but also in terms of like the cultural context of it, yeah.
Yeah. My parents had the local oldies radio station on in all of our cars all the time. And this song was in heavy rotation. So yeah, it just kind of feels like a fact of cultural life for me. in a way that a lot of other soft rock doesn't. Like, I think because it's a bit of a meme now about, like, when TV shows, like, ask somebody about what they are looking for in a partner, they're like, they must like Piña Coladas and Getting Caught in the Rain or whatever. But I have always wondered, are these things supposed to be happening at the same time? Or are they two separate interests?
I think they're separate interests. Though, I think for this challenge, I am considering both.
I agree. I was too.
Which then makes me think about, there's like a video of a guy like eating like pasta, like spaghetti, and it's just pouring down rain, and he's just like having like a drink or something, and it's just looks miserable, and I imagine that's the scenario here.
Well, I mean, I know Sean's been to Hawaii, and I've spent a little bit of time in Hawaii and then a week or so in the Caribbean. Rain just kind of pops up in these tropical locations and then goes away pretty quickly. And so I was kind of thinking it was more like you're out walking the beach and the rainstorm's coming, so you're going to duck into a little tiki bar and drink until the storm goes away. That's kind of what I was after.
Yeah.
Sean, how are you interpreting the order of operations for Piña Coladas and Rain?
I was just trying to pick a song that connected with the vibe.
Vibes based.
I feel like there's a really strong vibes game around this song. So I was just trying to look for something that was as chill as that.
Like soft rock chill or island chill or both?
Like yacht rock chill.
Yeah.
And to which I discovered there is actually a thriving modern day yacht rock revival happening.
Yeah, man. I read an interview with Brian Eno a couple days ago. And in it, the interviewer was basically like, you invented ambient music. Now it seems like all music is ambient, in the sense that people just kind of have stuff on. And he like took the question and turned it and made it about ASMR in a really interesting way. But I think part of what the interviewer was getting at is like, there is this surge in listenable genres like yacht rock that you can just play on like an endless Spotify radio station while you're like doing God knows what, cooking or eating or doing work or cleaning your house. And, you know, I don't know that it's good or bad necessarily, but it definitely changes the way you listen to music. You don't want things that are abruptly different in the mix, you know?
Which is interesting, because I feel like I should probably wait till probably like Sean's pick for this, but I'll just kind of say it anyway. But I feel like what is interesting about the way music has sort of evolved is that it has not been adventurous in that, well, like, sure, some new like genres and sort of like new sounds sort of been created, but I think really what has been sort of like what has evolved is that the refinement of a sound, right? Like I feel like it used to, like, I feel like back in the day, it was like classic rock bands would make like one song that had this really cool like kind of sound effect that like would be like, this created like an entire subgenre like decades down the line, you know? Like I feel like and so I feel like in current music, it's like, we're going to take that and then we're going to make a whole album of it instead of just one song on one album and then never touched again. And so I feel like albums are like more consistent in their sort of experimentation in that way. And they're like exploring of that. And so I feel like that's kind of like what the Renaissance is the refinement.
It's so funny you mention that, because as we record, the new Taylor Swift has just come out, Tortured Poets Department, and my husband was not very happy with it overall because he felt like every song sounded exactly the same. And I was like, no, that's the point. Like, it's a vibes album. It's supposed to feel like one consistent, long, like, aesthetic.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, but it's like the same beat, and it's like the same synth textures. And I'm like, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, and for some people, that's going to be great.
Yeah. And I think you're absolutely right, Tyler, that like, especially in the era of streaming where every stream is what you get paid for, not amount of streaming time, that's how you end up with Taylor Swift releasing a 31 song album where most of the songs sound basically the same.
God. Oh boy, I didn't realize it was so long.
Well, so the main album is 14 songs or 13 songs. That came out at midnight, and then at 2 a.m. it was like, surprise, here's the deluxe edition. Which, like, is it really a deluxe edition if it comes out on the same day? Up for debate. But yeah, I wanted something agreeable, I guess is what I'm getting at. I wanted something agreeable and something that, like, you know, it didn't need to be a love song, but I wanted it to have a romantic potential, because I feel like part of what makes Escape, the Piña Coladas song, so, like, memeable is how earnest it is. Like, it really is just kind of about, like, a middle-aged person, like, looking for love unapologetically. And I wanted to capture that feeling.
Which, let's just say out loud, could have been resolved through communication. But, you know, you say, oh, I need to find this woman. It's like, actually, we like the same things. We just never had a conversation, which sounds really appropriate for the age, for like the demographic of people that now listen to that song. You're like, oh, I don't think you've just been with this person for like 50 years. You're like, I don't know that you liked any of this stuff. Communicate. That being said, I feel like what I was trying to do is I was like, who is this person? Like, who is listening to this song? You know, or like, not necessarily who's listening to it, but who likes this combo of things? And I was like, I don't think I could name anyone within probably a decade in either direction of me that probably likes a pina colada on purpose. Like, I don't think there's, I don't know of anyone ever being like, a pina colada, that's my favorite drink. I feel like we've been really in a marg mood. I feel like margaritas have been the dominant sort of like sweet drink to have. Maybe it's because we're in landlocked Ohio, but you know, I feel like margaritas, we have a little bit of the Mexican influence sort of in the surrounding area. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't been to enough of the coast to find out, but I feel like pina colada not historically a drink that I have encountered a lot of people enjoying particularly. So I'm like someone older, and I'm like also getting caught in the rain. So I'm like, so this is someone who is very spontaneous, who sort of falls in and out of love very quick. You know, has a little they're real down for whatever. And a little bit older, sort of like the kind of guy that I feel like just kind of wears like a Hawaiian shirt all the time.
But it's distinctly not a Jimmy Buffett vibe.
No. Different.
Yeah, it's a little more, there's a class difference between the Rupert Holmes character and the Jimmy Buffett character.
Yes. I would say a little more of the yacht man, you know, a little bit more money involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking about. I was like, this is a weird. When I actually started to pick the songs, this is a weird challenge to like conceptualize. I hadn't really considered how weird pina coladas as a drink was until this moment.
Well, Tyler, why don't you just share your concept with us? What was your song this week?
Okay, all right. This week I can't tell you why, a cover of it, you know, a classic Eagles song by Chromeo. With DJ Kicks. So this song was on like some random CD at some point that I got back in like the iTunes era, like some mixed CD. It had to have been, it might have even been like a Warped Tour. So I feel like I ended up kind of choosing this song because I'm not as much of a hater of the Eagles as I feel like most people are. I feel like people really go out of their way to dislike the Eagles, and I think they're fine. You know, like, I feel like upon reflection, and it's not just because your dad listens to it all the time, you're kind of like, oh, there's a little bit on the bones there. There's a little bit to dig into. But what I feel like what I wanted to do here is I wanted to sort of like, this is sort of like a contemporary remix of it, gives a little extra zhuzh in it up, you know, and I feel like it's got that nice sort of like the thing where they put in their mouth and they do like the keytar with it, and so it changes your voice, modulates and stuff, a little bit of like autotune type stuff, and just kind of makes it a little bit more of a little funky, a little more electronic, and I feel like it kind of upscales it a little bit better for today, for contemporary audiences, and I just think it's nice, and I think I kind of feel like the song is within the era in which Escape was created, and I feel like probably maybe someone who's hip and with it might appreciate this remix of it.
Yeah, I immediately got the vibe. I didn't realize it was an Eagles cover, but knowing that makes it even better. Because, yeah, I mean, the person that this song is for really likes the Eagles. A band that I know the three of us generally are not a fan of.
That's fine. It's fine.
But I gotta say, if I was gonna pick somebody to do an Eagles cover, it wouldn't have been Chromeo.
No.
But they really do well with this. It's really laid back. It's got that, like you said, that vocoded lead vocal on the chorus. It's almost like G-Funk.
Oh, yeah.
In a way, like it's got that early 90s, like Snoop Dogg kind of production to it that
yeah,
is really fun for an Eagles song. It's got a little bit of a reggae flair to it. Like, there's a lot going on here.
Yeah, it adds a certain amount of sex appeal that I feel like the Eagles historically, I feel like in our generation does not have.
Agreed. And yeah, I can totally see myself vibing by the pool to this, vibing at the tiki bar, you know, on the Bluetooth speaker at the beach. I think it has island vibes, and I'm into that. It's going on my beach vacation playlist for sure.
Okay, all right.
It's fine. I feel like it's played at the coffee bar by a barista who cares a little bit more about this genre than you ever will. And they know that no one's listening close besides them. They just want to wink at somebody and say, hey.
Perfect.
Once again, that's the second week I've done on this podcast today where no one has seen it. So I just want to say, I guess
you need to say it out loud.
Wink.
Yeah, wink.
This is supposed to be sarcastic.
But I like all the textures. I feel like all three of our songs kind of pick up on that Piña Colada sound, just probably more updated. So, yeah, it plays.
I feel like I wanted to avoid, like, for a second, I was like, okay, where did the Piña Colada originate from? I was like, okay, Puerto Rico. I was like, okay, what's traditional Puerto Rican, or like, what's the Puerto Rican dance music? I was like, nope, step away, step back. I was trying to go in a different direction. I said, no, this is correct.
Yeah, I mean, you could have just slapped in a Bad Bunny song and called it a day.
I could have just slapped in a Bad Bunny song.
That would be a lesser podcast. A podcast that hasn't made 270 episodes of this. All right, Sean, you or me? Who's going next?
Let me go next.
All right. What did you bring us?
All right. So this week, I chose Better Than Ever by Video Age.
Feast your eyes on a guy who's a bit passe. It's all good. Only the best they could attest to that long game style I'm banking on. It's on. Ooh, better and better. Ooh.
So I discovered this song when I was looking for... I forget what I was looking for. I was like going through like my songs that I kind of had saved up, looking for a vibe song to fit this challenge, and then I scrolled down because I was like, I don't know if this works, and then there was a playlist on Spotify for modern yacht rock, and I was like,
Let's go.
Let's see where this goes, and it did not let me down. If you're just looking for a general playlist for this challenge that has nothing to do with our three songs, if you said, I need more of this in my life, might I suggest modern yacht rock on Spotify? You will find your Piña Colada Heart's Content playlist. I think this song had a little bit more. I listened to like 10 or 12 songs, and I did doing the Sean test, that like 10 seconds and 20 seconds and so on. And I was like, oh, let's see what happens. And this one stuck out a lot. I was like, there's prominent drums, there's affected vocals, there's nice lyrics, positive way. It was just like all around kind of a nice song that I feel like if it came on and I was in a Chipotle or having a pina colada, I'd be like, I need to Shazam this and find out what's happening here, which made it an instant winner for me, especially because it's in a genre that I'm not that hard into, and it was nice. Oh, you know what it was? The song I looked up at first was Donnie Benet just came out with a new album, and I was like, Donnie he's got the perfect sound for a pina colada, and I just kept going down that rabbit hole until I found something that I thought was like chef's kiss.
Yeah, this is really great. I love the touch of psychedelic influence here, like just a sprinkling. It's nice, like the little Tame Impala-esque descending keys on the chorus is really cool. I love the like running the fingers down the fretboard in the transition from chorus to verse. It's really cool. It's a really cool update on the yacht rock sound that has like a little bit of 80s new wave in it, a little bit of psychedelia. Like it does a nice job of bringing things together in a way that feels familiar but still is kind of fresh. Their vocal harmonies are super tight. I really I just love the way their voices meld together. It's very soothing. Yeah, I mean, this is a real quality find. Do you know anything else about this band?
They've been around for a minute. I've watched a few more of their videos today, and I think this one is pretty recent, like 7 months ago is when it came out, but they've had songs that are like 7 years old. There's all kinds of hype on the YouTube comments about people being like, why are they not famous yet? Like, why is this not happening? Which means that maybe they're about to blow up. They've been around for enough time now for a Fontano to figure it out. I don't know.
Does it all kind of sound like this?
Yeah, they've been doing the yacht rock bit for a little bit, but it's still pretty consistent. Like it all holds up. It's nothing that's too new.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like, has the sound changed? Not really, but it's still good.
Nice. Let's check out some more.
And that's kind of what I was saying, right? Where it's like, it feels like a refinement. It's like, it's things that have already been done and played before, but it's feeling like it's bringing a contemporary perspective to it. And I feel like that's really nice. Like, I think like kind of what we're saying is like, it's like solid, I feel like it doesn't have like a strong sort of like pull. It's sort of like, but I feel like it doesn't have a strong pull in the way that like, I feel like yacht rock kind of sort of maybe shouldn't, because it's like, it's supposed to be like a vibe, right? It's chill. It's not supposed to really be reaching for your like attention really strong, but it's chill and it's nice. And I think like in the music video, it's kind of funny that they found like one of the biggest synths of all time, and it's like that's cool. Like I am horny for synth. I love electronics, so it's like obviously I was already just gonna like this no matter what. And I do think it's interesting how I think that this like genre sort of like kind of matches up with kind of like also like fashion trends as well, because I feel like people are also just sort of dressing like that era of music, right, where it's like really casual, like suit and blazer type stuff, just sort of like faux fit, like old money kind of looks. And I don't know, I feel like in some ways I think it's all like, I bet even like the original yacht rock dudes was all like a costume anyway. So it's like, I feel like anyone that's kind of like, oh, is this like authentic or is this just writing a hype or whatever? It's like, no, listen, we're all just making whatever we want whenever we want. It doesn't matter. And I feel like if this is going to be sort of like the sort of the sound for the next few years, or because I feel like it's kind of been already kind of happening in the last couple of years. I feel like I feel like it's still sort of like
yeah,
digesting under just under the mainstream, right? Like, because I remember, God, what was it? Gorillaz made that song with George.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, in like 2020 or 2019, and I feel like they were on trend at that point with that song, and I feel like it's sort of like coming to a head. And I feel like if this is the sound of like bands, your like local band, instead of like playing like surf rock or like surf punk, I think it's a good transition. I think that I would much prefer this versus surf punk, because I'm just a little bit more nuanced to it, a little bit cooler, a little bit more of a chill vibe, and I'm into it. But yeah, I think this is a good pick, and I think it both works for a challenge, and it's a band I will not check out. You did it.
Yay.
Did good, kid. All right, well, that just leaves me, and this week I picked Could Heaven Ever Be Like This by Idris Muhammad.
I feel music in your eyes. Rainbows in your kiss. I have never reached such heights. Could heaven ever be like this?
So this is a tropical disco track from 1977. I picked it out because I'm building a playlist for a beach vacation coming up, and I was going through Apple Music's various beach and vacation playlists. And when this came on, it immediately struck me because the vocal on this is sampled on a song that's already on this playlist. Loud Places by Jamie XX, which I adore. It's one of my favorite XX-related tracks ever. And I just, at the time, remember loving this sample and being like, man, wonder where that's from. And it hits, like, right at the very beginning of this track, like, within the first minute. And I was like, oh, here it is. I have found the grail. And then you keep going, and, like, I don't know, it just gave me those Piña Colada Caught in the Rain vibes. It has that like 70s disco energy to it, but it's not too like oppressively disco-y because it has this kind of tropical feel to it. Like, it doesn't feel like Saturday Night Fever. It's a little more laid back disco, which is kind of nice. And it does build and it goes places. There's some really cool guitar solos in the middle section. There's a lot of like strings and just huge instrumentation that you get in varying points. And I know this breaks Sean's 5-minute rule, but I think like A, it's disco. Disco songs have to be long so you can dance to them. And B, the reason I ultimately picked it is I feel like it stays interesting by taking things in and then pulling them out and alternating the instrumentation around a little bit, changing the melodies slightly. Like, it has a bunch of different sections to it that could be memorable on their own. And then as a whole, you're just like, man, the groove is just tight. Like, it's a really well-crafted disco track. And I could totally see this playing at a little cabana bar while people in their 70s outfits are just, you know, doing a little shimmy. Not full-on dancing, but just kind of little flirty shimmy, sipping your pina colada, making eyes at somebody across the room. Let's go. We're on island time, baby.
I think it's both good and bad that people can create such a specific, isolated, iconic moment, like the part that's sampled, that then is not then sort of like capitalized on and utilized in that way, in that artist specific like lifetime, or like within their own like it's kind of like, it feels a little bad that like sometimes like really underground unnoticed artists just don't get recognition for that, probably don't get any compensation for it, and that is like the part that like makes the song. Like, I have listened to some of the original tracks from Discovery, Daft Punk's Discovery, and I'm like, they just whole ass ripped off these songs. Like, just, it's a different time, you know? We have much more, like, requirements for that kind of stuff. I guess at this point now, a little more credits need to be given. So that sucks. But, I mean, it's a cool part, and if it leads you to eventually finding music that you enjoy because of this, I think that's a success, right? So, I'm divided on how I feel about it, but I mean, this is already a sound that I love and already a kind of vibe that I like, so I'm already into it. I guess I forget when Escape was made. I feel like it kind of I don't feel like it really necessarily played within like I think it was more in the 80s. I think it was kind of avoided the disco sensibility, but that doesn't mean
it was released in 1979, so 2 years after this song.
Okay, so I don't. It don't matter. But I mean, I feel like they aren't exactly kind of like in the same space. But I feel like it makes sense if they use. I wouldn't put this on the same playlist as Escape, but I think you could definitely make a playlist with this song that I feel like with the same kind of vibe and definitely be both tropical, and be spontaneous. Because I mean, jazz, baby. We all about that spontaneity. We all about that improv. I was kind of interested in kind of like the format of this, just because it is sort of like a little bit more laid back. Like it kind of like it's like this is more like a free jazz. This is like some spiritual jazz, and like he kind of hung out with like Pharoah Sanders, who's like a spiritual jazz kind of guy, and that kind of feels. I could kind of feel like that sort of that kind of influence. But yeah, I mean this is cool. I'm glad you found the core of a song that was already cool and gave us some more context for it.
It's a little long.
Of course.
I mean, he ruins it when he says stuff like that, and I can't make my own comments.
I'm just trying to head it off.
I think. I mean, you know that I love a good funk, so it wins in that part. I don't know if the bass line was that strong, though. There was a lot of guitar, and that's just kind of weird. Like, that's out of my wheelhouse I'm just used to, like, bass-driven funk.
Yeah, I feel like I would love an update to this. I would love someone to, like, take this and then, like, give it, like, a new coat of paint.
Yeah. I mean, I could imagine this being sampled in the modern day. In the day. Today. Wink. Did I do it right? Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah, you
cool.
got it. Yeah.
But there's definitely like everything that was cool about 70s music that I feel like is having a revival moment is coming from this. Like this guitar tone. It's like really funny that we're having this challenge, and then like a McBasey song came on right after this, and I was like, oh my god, this is exactly what I'm listening to right now. I want to deny that and be like, no, I'm not into this stuff. But it totally is. And I think you did good. I like that your description added a little bit of a sexy vibe to it. It plays well.
The original song is sexy.
It's sexy?
No, I agree. It's a sexy song.
I forgot about McBass.
All right.
Was that your song of the year?
Me?
No, Sean.
No.
I was like, Water Slide, I felt like was...
No, it wasn't my song of the year. No, it was... Yeah, no, Water Slide was the pick for songs that you play in the car with a... You go to a particular timestamp, and it was a guitar solo. Yeah. Well, anyway, now it's time for listener suggestions. We only have one. This is episode 274. The title got redid for this one, so I'm going to read it as is because that's what you came here for. Boys in the band ordered a boat.
Drinks.
Sorry, I misspoke. Boys in the band ordered boat. Julie. Hi, Julie. Julie Stego picked Smells Like Teen Spirit. Julie was clearly in a grunge mindset when she posted her answers for the next couple episodes.
Real weird vibe, Julie. Real weird vibe. But
yeah, no.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
No. But here she is now, entertainer. Okay.
I don't think so.
Acting stupid, entertainer. Well, with that one B-side, anybody have additional B-sides?
I shot from the hip. I heard the song and I said, that's the one.
Huh. All right. Well, I thought it was you. Herbie Hancock. Kamilka Kasai. Great song. Sad City by Sal Shapiro. I was like, what kind of vibe do I want to have to bring to this? Because Escape's kind of... could be considered a sad song in some ways. And Dancer on the Water by Brother Tiger. And then couldn't pick Brother Tiger again. It's too soon. Just a bunch of songs that I picked. There's like a Churches song. There's like a Lady Gaga song. I was like, these aren't quite right. Not quite right.
I already plugged Donnie's new album. Talking about this, you might expect to see it in the next year. Donnie Benet. Just check it out.
Well, Tyler, if people want to hang their hammock next to yours, where can they find you?
Hey, everybody. You can find my design illustration work at rudepets.club. And as always, on the socials, Rude Pets Club. Instagram, TikTok, Twitter.
Sean, if they want to reserve a lounger on the pool deck with you, where can they do that?
Ooh, you can make reservations on Instagram at TellySean.
And if you want to grab a pina colada with me, you can find me on the socials at TC Olmstead. All of these songs will be on the official No Repeat podcast playlist, which is available on Apple Music and Spotify. Just type in No Repeat. Our superfan Ivan Glasgow maintains the B-Sides playlist on Spotify that has all the songs that we didn't pick but might have. And we'll be back next week with another episode of No Repeat.